This video is about solving a system of equations using the substitution method. So, in order to use the substitution method, the first thing we want to do is find a variable to solve for. The best variables to solve for are the ones that have a coefficient of 1. So either an x or y. Then we're going to substitute the expression into the other and solve for the variable. Last, we're going to substitute the number into one of the equations, simplify and solve for the other variable. So in number 1, we look at and we have 2x plus 3y equals 13 and y equals 6x minus 9. So we already have a y equals. We're going to take whatever y is equal to, and we're going to box that. And since it's y equals, we're going to substitute for y in the other equation. So everything else stays the same. We're just replacing y with what y was equal to. So when we do that, we get 2x plus 3 parentheses 6x minus 9 equals 13. So in order to solve for x now, because that's in our equation, we're going to first distribute. So we get 2x plus 18x minus 27 equals 13. Combine those x terms together, we get 20x minus 27 equals 13. Add 27 to both sides, so 20x equals 40. And then we're going to divide by 20, and x equals 2. Once we know that x is 2, we need to pick either equation. Doesn't matter the first or the second. So in this case, I'm going to take the first. I'm going to say what x is equal to. I'm going to substitute that in and get my y value. So we have y equals 6 times 2 minus 9. 6 times 2 is 12. And then we do 12 minus 9 and we get 3. So now that we have x and y, we're going to write them as an ordered pair. Remember, it always comes x comma y. So we have 2 comma 3 is our final answer. Number 2, we have x equals 7 plus 3y and 3x plus 9y equals 3. So this time we have an x equals. So we're going to box what x is equal to, and we're going to box x in the other equation and substitute. So we now have 3 parentheses 7 plus 3y plus 9y equals 3. So everything else stayed the same except we replaced x with what we boxed. So in order to solve for y, the first step we're going to do is distribute. So we get 21 plus 9y plus 9y equals 3. Combine like terms, so 9y plus 9y is 18y plus 21 equals 3. We're going to subtract 21 on both sides. So 18y equals negative 18. And then we're going to divide by 18. So y is negative 1. Once we know y is negative 1, we need to go back and solve for x. So this time, let's pick the first equation. Remember, it doesn't matter which equation we pick. And we get x equals 7 plus 3 times negative 1. So we get 7 minus 3, which is 4. So our ordered pair here would be 4, negative 1. Number 3, we have y equals again. So we're going to box what y is equal to, and we're going to box y in the other equation and substitute. So we have 3x minus parenthesis x plus 3 equals 1. So in order to solve for x, the first step is we're going to distribute this negative sign because that's what's touching the parenthesis. So we get 3x minus 3 equals 1. Combine my x's, I get 2x minus 3 equals 1. Add 3 to both sides, so 2x equals 4. And then divide by 2, so we get x is 2. Once we know that x is 2, we're going to take that value and substitute. So this time, let's use the second equation. So we have 3 times 2 minus y equals 1. 6 minus y equals 1. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides, so negative y equals negative 5. Divide by negative 1, so y is 5. So we would get 2, 5. Number 4, we have an x equals y plus 4 and 4x plus 4y equals 16. So we're going to take what x is equal to, and we're going to box x in the other equation. So when I substitute, I get 4 times y plus 4 4y equals 16. So when I distribute, I get 4y plus 16 plus 4y equals 16. So we have two y terms that we can combine together to get 8y plus 16 equals 16. So in order to get y by itself, I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. 8y equals 0. Divide by 8, and y is 0. Remember that your variables can be equal to 0. So y has a value of 0. And then we need to substitute to get x. So I'm going to substitute back into the first equation. X equals 0 plus 4, which means x is 4. So our ordered pair would be 4, 0. So let's do another problem, and this time we're going to solve a word problem. So number 5, the sum of a large and small number is 93. The large number is 9 less than 5 times the small number. What are the two numbers? So remember here, we need to first define our variables. So we're going to say L is going to be our large number, and S is going to be our small number. So we need to write two equations. So the first sentence says the sum of a large and small number is 93. So remember that sum is addition and is equals. So we have L plus S equals 93. And in the second equation, the large number is, so L equals 9 less than 5 times the small number. Well, 5 times the small number is 5s, and then 9 less is minus 9. So we already have one of the variables by itself. We have L equals. So we're going to box what L is equal to and box L in our other equation and substitute. So we get 5s minus 9 plus s equals 93. So in front of the first parenthesis is just a 1. So when we distribute, we get 5s minus 9 plus s equals 93. So I'm going to combine my s's. So I have 5s and s to get 6s minus 9 equals 93. I'm going to add 9 to both sides, so 6s equals 102. And when I divide by 6, s is 17. Now that we know s is 17, we can go back and get L. So I'm going to substitute S into the first equation. So L plus 17 equals 93. So when I subtract 17 from both sides, I get that L is 76. So our ordered pair, remember, goes in alphabetical order if they're not X and Y's. So L is 76, S is 17. Remember, because it's a word problem, we also need to write a sentence. So we're going to say the large number is 76, and the small number is 17.